today we're going to make a round centerpiece for the FFA breakfast. Depth, the placement of materials at different levels within an arrangement, creating a 3D appearance. When creating a round arrangement, you can either do it in a round container or a square container. But there is one technique that helps everybody to be able to make sure that it creates a round form. And what we want to do is insert first in the middle whatever flower you're going to use as your focal. And of course, if you want to go ahead and take off some of these leaves, you can go ahead and edit down. The container has already had the Oasis block in it, and it has the tape around it securing the Oasis block in. Believe it or not, this technique was actually used by architects in ancient Egypt to be able to create round form domes on top of a square pillar. And what you're doing is you're actually inserting a triangle so that you're going to have, if you can see, you actually have a triangle shape that you've created to be able to start creating your round form. And then when you add your next layer, you start creating little triangles within your form so that when you insert here, and again when I'm inserting here, if you sort of see, you can sort of see, I'll put it here, you'll see another triangle forming here. If you look here, there's another triangle forming here. So when you're going through this whole thing, you're creating all these different triangle shapes. So once you sort of get your form set, what you really want to do to make more interest is create depth. And depth is created very easily by just inserting flower stems at different heights in. So say we take this lovely daisy after we put our hydrangeas in and we insert it, but we go ahead and insert it where, if you can see here, it's a little bit higher out. And when you're doing these, here we're coming around here, don't forget to use the lip of your container if you want to pull some in a little bit. And if you want to cluster, which is basically putting two of the same type of botanical in the close vicinity of each other, you've created one that's a little bit in and one that's a little bit out. When I started in my floral career, I had a very seasoned flower shop owner who told me what you want to do is make it in and out, so up and down. So you're having these variants of heights throughout. And also when you're doing this, especially if you start spinning your arrangement around, you don't only want it to go in and out, you want to make sure the front and the back and the sides all have an equal distance from each other, and so it's stable. And so we'll go ahead and keep going with the daisies. And then again, pushing some in, and then pulling some, we'll put another one in a little bit further, going down. And when you're inserting into a round arrangement, basically what you're doing is you're making a radial arrangement. So every point, you'll have a center point here, and all your stems are going directed towards that center. So this way your stems do not overlap, you do not hit them in the Oasis foam. And then we'll sit here and pull some there. And then what I like to do, and this is all personal preference, is I actually like to put my flowers in first and then green in. Unless you're trying to make more of a green arrangement, then that's where your focal is. But then we have it with a little bit up. And you can go ahead and use it so some of the stems are down, some of the stems are coming through. But you never want to have everything on the same plane so that you have everything a little bit in and out. Then another wonderful thing is you start putting in some of your more colorful, and what we're working here too is on an extended analogous color scheme. And that's basically the greens and the purple, and an extended analogous is when on your hues, they're literally 5 hues away from each other. So this is almost complementary, but 1 hue short of being complementary. And as always, when you're doing a round arrangement to create interest, you want to sort of use other things that have more texture to it. So we have these lovely Fuji, green Fuji mums, that have a little bit, even though they're the same color as the hydrangea, you're getting a little bit of a different texture. And the same thing when I'm using the eucalyptus, the spiral eucalyptus, it's a total different texture than we're seeing anywhere else. And then also when you're using greenery with the eucalyptus, it's able to extend out a little bit past the plane of this round. As you can see, everything's still very round. We're still keeping it very round. We're trying to make sure that we're covering the foam, so the more insertions you have, and you want to clean off these stems to make sure we don't have any of this in the soil or into the foam. You're having it, again, a different type of texture that creates interest, and you will gain points when you're competing as well. And then we'll come up here, and you start filling in the holes of the arrangement, but again, making it in and out, in and out. Now, if you don't have the floral foam and you just have the grid, you do it exactly the same way so that you're able to go ahead and create an arrangement with those mechanics that you can keep going. And then what I like to do when I'm designing, and a lot of designers do as well, is I like to spin the arrangement around. And this is sort of one of those things too. If you don't have a lot of materials, and especially when you're in competition, they might give you 5 stems of this, 1 stem of that. If you insert all of the same around, instead of just doing in one area, you put one in, and then you spin it around, and you have another one of these lovely Moon Series carnations. Then you're able to get it spread evenly throughout the entire arrangement so that the color's flowing. And again, we're doing a lot of with the purples. Then we'll have, and these are your money flowers. And normally what you want to do in these arrangements is use these in strategic locations. And these are your ones that it's like, okay, let's go ahead and put one on the top to be able to add a little bit, or if you want to make more impact so you're not sort of polka dotting it, you want to go ahead and cluster again, you can put one down just a little bit further into that as well. I'm going to try to get it down a little bit more, but the daisies are your more inexpensive ones so that you can see, if you can sort of see everything's giving itself a little bit of depth. Then you can go back in and fill in your arrangement with your greenery. Anything on the base, you go ahead and cut it again at the angle and base it in so that you're getting a little bit more texture. And this texture is like your shiny glossy. We don't have any shiny glossy in this arrangement, so this all of a sudden adds a little bit more interest as well. And then you just keep going around. Now, one thing I will say too is, say you have something that you cut something off, like a Israeli ruscus. And what you want to do is to keep it clean, because if you're in a competition where there's only a few of you and maybe you're on the top 1 and 2 and you're at a tie, the judges will pull out your stems to see how your mechanics are. And people have won and lost based on little simple things of even how they've cut their stems. So what you want to do is take and make it flush so it looks like that's a natural part of the stem instead of sticking a stem out. And then you can go ahead and then insert it. And when you insert it, you cannot even tell that that was part of something that was no longer there. And you just keep continually going all the way around until you have an arrangement that is totally completed. And then if you look in on the top, you've got that whole entire round circle that you've been able to create the form. And then again, everything's up and down, in and out, both sides, front and back. And then you're also having your clusters and your little repetition of patterns and colors. And this is your round. Okay.